let's talk some must-add wide receivers here for Week 4 fantasy football, now transitioning into Romeo Doubs of the Green Bay Packers, rostered in 39% of fantasy football platforms right now. Doubs took the step we've been waiting for somebody to make here in this Packers offense in Week 3. Now, there was a couple dynamics going on taking place throughout this contest. Of course, first and foremost, the Packers' most productive wide receiver from Week 2, Sammy Watkins, was placed on the injured reserve this past week due to a hamstring issue that's not going to be a short-term fix here. It's the classic Sammy Watkins early season syndrome. He comes in, makes a couple big plays, looks really nice, and then leaves you, kind of scratching your head wondering where the heck did he go. So Romeo Doubs in this matchup. Christian Watson also an inactive play due to injuries for this week as well. Stepped up to the plate, took control of this receiving room, and is definitely the number one pass catcher in my book for fantasy football purposes going forward here. More opportunities than Allen Lazard, a red zone look as well. Both players scored a touchdown this week, but I think he has the highest ceiling at this point in time of any Packers pass catcher based off of the information we have right now. I love me some Christian Watson. I think he's a viable lineup play later in the season, hopefully, if he breaks out here. But what Romeo Doubs was able to do was be a multifaceted player with his involvement for this team. He was catching passes at the line of scrimmage. He was very good in the short intermediate RPO game. He was doing a lot for this football team, contested catches. He had some jitters early. He almost dropped his touchdown catch. He almost didn't get his head around live watching that at full speed. I was like, turn. And he ends up, catching it right on the button and, just kind of bowling his way into the end zone there. And then he actually fumbled a deeper reception he had as well, but he did catch all 8 of his targets here. 8 receptions, 73 yards, and a receiving touchdown. He reminds me a little bit of some former Packers. He's kind of got this bigger, clunky nature like a Jared Cook. Those of you that are Packer fans might know what I'm talking about there. And he also reminds me of a slightly leaner James Jones. He's a very thick build, very muscular player as well. Not the fastest guy in the world, but has a really nice tool set. So I like Romeo Doubs going forward here. Green Bay is going to have to incorporate these younger players and get them touches this season in some way, shape, or form. Doubs is my favorite option to do that right now. And like I said, I still like Allen Lazard, but I think that the heights that Romeo could potentially soar to here that range of outcomes includes being Green Bay's number one pass catching option this season. Isaiah McKenzie, I apologize. Hardcore Bills fans or people that just, don't like imperfections in fantasy football videos. Yes, I know he wears number 6. There just isn't very good pictures of him available right now in number 6. So this photo is from 2021 or pre-2022, I guess, rather. In number 19, he has since transitioned. I apologize. I'll just say that now. Isaiah McKenzie, though, rostered in 41% of leagues, is an absolute crime. As I was scrolling through the waiver availability, looking for some players with some lower rostership to talk through in today's waiver episodes, you have to add Isaiah McKenzie. It's just a situation tied to a quarterback with such great upside, playing a role for this offense that's far too valuable to just let someone else in your league scoop him up. He is essentially playing the Cole Beasley role for this team that we saw last year. Now, there is one key difference in that situation that I'm going to talk through here, but that role in itself is very valuable. You're getting a potential for a high volume, week in, week out, slate of targets heading his direction. It's not going to play out perfectly every time. We saw in week 2, the numbers were a little bit underwhelming. Even week 1, the targets weren't awesome, but he scored a touchdown. But what you have here is a player who is extremely quick. You get inside the red zone, and he's kind of the last priority for the defense, meaning he's seeing very inferior coverage and just has to make a quick move and score. And you've also got a player who is a competent playmaker. He's quick, he's athletic, he can stretch the field vertically. He's a smaller guy, can get kind of tossed around out there, but his skill set is very valuable to this football team. Now, the one difference that I think makes him a little bit less valuable than 2021 Cole Beasley is the simple fact that Gabe Davis has established himself as the wide receiver 2 here. Despite the fact that Cole was kind of the interior, he was the slot receiver, and you had other guys like Emmanuel Sanders on the perimeter last season, Gabe Davis's role is a larger factor in this 2022 Bills offense. So are we going to see as frequent of double-digit target games or even 8, 9, 10 target opportunities for McKenzie this season? No, probably not. But you are going to see them come here and there. And this week here, we saw a very, very promising opportunity for Isaiah McKenzie, where he was able to put up a 9-target game, catch 7 of those 9 targets, and have 76 yards and a reception touchdown. So the opportunity is there. He's a playmaker. He can capitalize on that. I would love to have him on my football team here, or my fantasy football team. Zay Jones, another player whose usage and role in his offense is making me very optimistic on him. Zay Jones is owned in just 8.3% of leagues. This is a huge opportunity for you to go out and buy him right now. For me, Zay Jones, the biggest draw here is that it looks, to my eye at this point in time, despite the fact that Marvin Jones had a great game here in week 3, that Zay Jones has become the second most valuable pass catcher to this offense. And where I've seen him line up in the slot, out wide, put him in motion, they're doing a lot of similar things with multiple of these receivers. His role is not super drastically different from what we see from Christian Kirk. The difference is that he's just a better player in this offense, therefore commanding more targets and more opportunities. Zay Jones is putting up really, really good games here. He's got a collection. 2 out of 3 have been hits. He had his second 9 or more target game this season, his second 12-point fantasy game in half PPR scoring this week. Again, I love his usage. He's very under-owned right now, under-rostered in fantasy football leagues, and he definitely needs to be prioritized here. Trevor Lawrence has shown growth. He's shown the ability to take the step as a pass catcher that we needed him to do. And I think that this offense, despite the fact that it's not as talented as a Bills or, some of these other elite premium offensive rooms like a Miami Dolphins or, even the Jets have themselves. I'm not saying that they're the third best pass catching core in the NFL, but you get what I'm saying here. It's not the best collection of talent, but these guys can star in their role here. They can do some really good things. And I think Zay Jones is turning himself into a flex caliber lineup play, simply based off of his usage and quarterback play that is being provided to him right now. DeVante Parker, owned in 21% of fantasy football leagues right now, is my next ad for this week. I loved what I saw from Parker here. He had a really quiet first 2 games, but man, for being owned in just 21.7% of formats after being dropped at a mass rate after the first couple games, he sure bounced back without Jacoby Myers in the field. That is important to note because I think that contributed to the increased amount of opportunities. And for a guy who doesn't get too much separation, his jump ball status is very, very good. He caught 5 of his 10 targets, so a 50% catch rate on 10 targets is not very good at all. But what is good is 156 yards, and that's what he produced in those 5 receptions. So you're talking about a guy averaging over 30 yards per catch this week. That is nuts. He's a red zone weapon. He's a jump ball machine. And again, like I said, not someone to depend on every week, but in situations here where maybe the Patriots offense is a bit undermanned, something to look at. Mac Jones did get banged up in this game and end up leaving in excruciating pain. So hopefully for Mac, things play out in whatever the best case scenario is. We don't have too much information at the time I'm recording this late on Sunday after Sunday Night Football, but thinking about you, Mac Jones. And DeVante Parker, of course, is more valuable if Mac Jones is in that lineup.